Okay, we're going to talk about stock splits and treasury stocks. I think this is going to be my last video for chapter 12, probably. So a stock split, kind of like it sounds, it just means we take our shares of stock and we split them into multiple shares. So it'll change the value of the stock individually, but it will not change the overall value of the stock itself. Okay, so stock split, like I said, it's changing the number of shares of stock and the value per share, but does not change the overall value. I know that sounds confusing, but it's not as bad as it sounds. So the example the book gives is if they had 10,000 shares of stock and the price per share of stock was $100, it's $100 each. That means I've got a total of $1 million worth of value in that stock. If I do a 5-to-1 split, that means for every share of stock, you're going to get 5 shares of stock. What that means is that I'm going to have 5 times the number of shares. So 10,000 times 5, I'm going to have 50,000 shares. But as I'm not changing the overall value, I'm going to divide the price per share by 5. So I end up with the exact same total value. So that's a 5-to-1 stock split. If I was say a 2-to-1 stock split, for the same example, then I would end up after the split having 20,000 shares of stock. And I divide this one by 2 at $50 per share, and again end up with the same overall value. Treasury stock. Now, treasury stock is when a company decides to buy back its own stock, and it can be for lots of reasons. It can be to support its stock price. It can be to sell these shares back to its employees. There's lots of reasons why companies buy treasury stock, but they can choose to do that. The treasury stock just means that I'm bringing it back, I'm buying it back from the general market. So generally, the cost method is what we use for our stock. So we have this company here that has 20,000 shares of common stock at $25 par, and that's worth $500,000, and they have also an excess of par account of $50,000. So if they purchased 1,000 shares of common stock at $45 per share, then this becomes treasury stock. This is the company buying it, treasury stock. The 1,000 shares at $45 per share, and they pay cash for it for the same amount, $45,000. Okay. Then it says they sold 600 shares of this stock for $60 each. So cash, pretty easy, should be pretty easy to figure out. I'm selling 600 shares at $60 each. So $36,000 is what I'm going to receive for it. But as always, my treasury stock, just like my common stock and any other stock, should only be recorded at the value that it was bought for. So I need to take the 600 shares of stock, the 600 shares of 600 times the $45 per share that I actually bought it for. So I credit treasury stock for $27,000, and then the remainder, the difference paid in capital and excess of par, is the remainder, much like when we issued stock in the first place, $9,000. If I sold the remaining for $40 per share, other than the remaining 400 shares, then I receive cash of $400 times $40 per share. My paid in capital would actually go down if I'm selling it for less than what I bought it for. Paid in capital. Actually, this should be from the sale of treasury stock. That excess of par up there, I meant for sale of treasury stock. Sorry about that. Is going to be the 400 shares times the $5 difference between, times the $5 difference, and the $5 difference is the difference between the $45 I paid for it and the $40 I'm currently selling it for, which is $2,000. And then I'm going to credit treasury stocks and no longer have it. For $18,000. And that's how treasury stock works. So it's buying and selling, the company itself buying and selling its own stock on the stock market. I think that'll be the last video for chapter 12.